Let's dive into the curious case of Ascended Future Trunks, a form that, while iconic in its visual intensity, has sparked debate, criticism, and even mockery among certain parts of the Dragon Ball fandom. What happened to this version of Trunks during the Cell Saga, why people started to hate on it, and what are some valid and some downright ridiculous takes people have said over the years. The Ascended Super Saiyan transformation, also called Super Saiyan Grade 3 or Ultra Super Saiyan, was Future Trunks' trump card after he emerged from the Hyperbolic Time Chamber during the Cell Saga. At first glance, it was a stunning display of power. It was much stronger than Grade 2 that Vegeta showed previously. His muscles swelled to grotesque proportions and his aura was explosive. To many fans at this time, it was supposed to be Trunks' moment, but instead it turned into a cautionary tale, and in some circles a meme. This state made him far stronger than Cell in his second form, and he thought stronger than Perfect Cell's full power, as well as believing he'd surpassed his father Vegeta, and that's where everything started to fall apart. Trunks' speed plummeted, his hulking size came at the cost of agility, real-time combat effectiveness. Cell mocked him for it. Trunks, despite his power, was helpless, unable to lay a finger on Perfect Cell, left embarrassed, paralyzed by the cold truth. Power without control is meaningless. So in a series known for glorifying power-ups, transformations, and going beyond limits, this was a rare moment where a new form was a deliberate failure, and for that reason some fans absolutely hate it, and hate Trunks for falling into that trap. While most Dragon Ball fans respect Future Trunks as a character, brave, tragic, cool with a sword, and jacket combo, the Ascended Trunks phase, despite looking cool as hell in the Saiyan armor, it has been divisive. Some fans believe he should have known better already, that Trunks knew his father was too cocky and easily baited by Cell. Some fans feel like it's a wasted transformation, that the form gets introduced, shown off, then immediately discarded, that it adds nothing long-term to the Saiyan arsenal. Some critics say it was a filler-level fluff in canon form, that it kills Trunks' momentum. He was a mysterious badass from the future who killed Frieza in one slash. Now, here he was, grunting with oversized muscles, moving slower than an Namekian on a bad day, being humiliated by Cell. It destroyed the aura he once had. Some say he's a Dragon Ball's version of a gym bro who skipped leg day. Obviously a meme because look at the size of his damn quads. But despite the hate, Ascended Trunks serves a crucial thematic role in Dragon Ball Z. It highlights a deeper idea the series explores during the Cell Saga. Power without discipline is useless. Goku surprisingly was the one who figured out the best strategy, mastering the basic Super Saiyan form for maximum efficiency. Trunks, like Vegeta, chased raw escalation. Vegeta knew the weakness, but it backfired for Trunks. Also, this arc gives us a rare moment of humility from Trunks. He admits he hid his true power from his father to protect his ego. He cares about his father, but when the form fails, he accepts it. He doesn't double down in arrogance, he learns, especially when Vegeta tries to teach him on the lookout, which shows progression in his character. Ascended Future Trunks is one of the most unique failures in Dragon Ball, a form that should have won the day, but instead taught a lesson. The hate for it is mostly justified. Yes, it was slow, yes, it was inefficient, but it made Trunks a deeper character afterwards. It added complexity to Saiyan transformations, and it showed that even a hero from a dystopian future could make a rookie mistake, but grow stronger from it. So no, Ascended Trunks doesn't suck overall. It was an interesting part of the story, good drama, a twist, but it definitely wasn't the win he was hoping for. But what if, in this retelling, Trunks could actually hit Perfect Cell when in that form? How would that even happen if the Ascended form Grade 3 sacrifices the user's speed for power? Well, the one parameter we must change in order for this to work is to eliminate the speed reduction in Grade 3 exclusive to only Trunks and not Vegeta, and have Trunks' power and speed increase in a linear fashion so that he's basically the same as he was facing Perfect Cell, but still retaining the speed to keep up with Perfect Cell, because he's a special case in this What If, guys. Basically, think of Z Broly moving really fast when jacked, but without Trunks actually being the legendary Super Saiyan. So as this is going to be a special case applied to just Trunks and not Vegeta, it actually keeps it sensible and consistent why Vegeta didn't use Grade 3 before this fight, because he wasn't able to keep his speed in this story. It's just Trunks. What would actually happen if this were the case, and how would Cell deal with Trunks then? And more importantly, what would happen to Trunks if the battle continued? Let's go back to the original manga by Toriyama and look at chapter 386, where Trunks powers up for the first time. He measures up to Cell and allows Cell to hit him in order for Krillin to take Vegeta to a safe location. Of course, Cell is massively suppressed here. Massively, but there were moments in which Trunks could dodge and hold his ground even when he was holding back, which should give some indication of what may happen if these two fighters go serious and both have speed. A classic Dragon Ball Z battle, if you will. In chapter 387, Trunks digs deeper into his energy tank and Cell is massively confident that he's got this in the bag already, realizing Trunks is exchanging speed for power, but here's where it will get different from here. Much like the legendary Super Saiyan Broly, Trunks is going to shock the living hell out of Cell and move extra fast with his bulky muscles, which should immediately catch Cell by surprise. With a combination of Trunks being stronger than Cell's current level, that being heavily suppressed Cell by the way, that's also something important to remember. Nevertheless, Trunks charges at Cell and manages to land a few hits, which Cell is impressed by. Cell respects the fact Trunks was able to boost his speed with a heavier mass, acknowledging that Trunks' hybrid nature allows for his potential to be extraordinary at this point. Which means Cell must raise his own game soon to stay in this fight, as Trunks' adrenaline is on fire to stop the evil android, and the fact Trunks is making contact with Cell fills the young Saiyan's mind with hope that he can indeed stop this villain if he keeps trying. In the original story, Trunks wasn't defeated in physical combat, but by being mentally defeated with his spirit broken. He lost hope because, number one, he saw how strong Cell was, but two, he couldn't even land a hit, even attempt to chop down the giant. It's like taking quadruple pre-workout before even leaving the house, but then you're stuck in traffic. Your momentum just falls rapidly. However, Trunks can see the hurting bombs he's delivering on Cell, which keeps him in the game mentally. A quick nod to the anime version of this fight, guys. You remember when Trunks was beating the living hell out of Perfect Cell for a little while? He looked awesome. The anime made it look like he moved as fast as Cell. Even Android 16 praised both of their speed when fighting. Pretty much, if Trunks could hit Cell outside of this awesome scene, then we'd basically have a fight on our hands just like this awesome scene, but for a bit longer, which would be amazing. I always felt Trunks deserved longer in that fight. But from here, two things will happen. The first thing to happen is Cell would power up. Cell has two options for his power up. He can either power up to the level in which he fought Goku at, which would be the next step up in revealing his power, and that would be needed here to overcome the stronger Trunks right now, who still has speed. Another power up option is Cell shows off that he has a buff form too, but you have to realize he only showed off that form to Trunks to make a point of the weakness of pure brute strength, which now isn't the case for future Trunks, as he has somehow maintained his speed. Because he's a goddamn prodigy in this What If. So if Cell wasn't disappointed this time around with Trunks' form, would he reveal the buff form? I think it's reasonable to suggest Cell would power up to the level that he fought Goku at because he's slowly testing out his perfect power, but we'll talk about both paths anyway because that's the fun thing to do. Now the second thing that would happen is Trunks would indeed start being affected by the transformation in terms of stamina. Just because he has speed with the size doesn't make him immune to being tired. He hasn't practiced with this form much. It's like a fat guy being able to sprint really fast despite his size, because he's a former sports player or something, but the sprint takes a lot more toll on his body because of the weight. That's the logic I'm applying here. Trunks may be fit, but he's inexperienced in using the grade 3 still. Like I said, we're only eliminating the speed reduction in grade 3 for Trunks. We're not applying a situation where Trunks has trained even longer in the form because he still had the same amount of time in the time chamber. So what we will find ourselves in now is a situation where it's early Cell games Perfect Cell versus a tiring future Trunks, and as you'd expect, the speed would now be in Cell's favor and Trunks would start to find himself in the same situation as the original story where he's no longer hitting Cell. That would lead to Trunks becoming more tired than normal because he's already had a decent brawl with Cell previously now, but Cell's endurance is just on another level. He sees himself as the perfect power and simply wants to test himself against a worthy challenger, Trunks no longer being that, so the difference in power and speed would lead to the same outcome as in the original story here, I believe, with Cell calling him and Vegeta disappointments and still wondering if Trunks could get stronger if given more time, as Cell still has a lot more powered up to do and a tournament to create in waiting for Goku. Thus we can end that one here, unless because the fight between Cell and Trunks went on for longer, Vegeta may already be back on the battlefield after the Senzu Bean, and I think in this situation if Vegeta interfered in the fight in anger or even waited for his turn after seeing Trunks being unable to land any more hits, Cell would beat up Vegeta again anyway, but this time he would say, "See you at the tournament," rather than kill Vegeta outright because he knows they can get stronger to test his power on. His mood has changed obviously from last time, but there's still a smidge of a chance he could kill Vegeta just because he's pissed off and seen him again. Tricky went to say for certain, but I do see Vegeta fighting Cell again the moment he sees him because of Saiyan pride. But now I want to talk about the alternate of Cell going buff to tangle with future Trunks, which may lead to Cell actually killing Trunks here, and why is that? The one word Trunks is known for: hope. You see, without Cell lecturing Trunks about sacrificing speed, Trunks would take Cell's new buff form as simply him being superior in raw power, making Trunks not question why Vegeta never used the form, thus making Trunks not want to back down because of his mistake. Instead, future Trunks would be committed to the cause as a warrior to stop Cell no matter what. That's his ultimate goal, to stop the androids. He's already hit him a lot during the fight already. He's not going to back down to this android. That's Trunks' attitude. He's been fighting his whole life, and if there's a glimmer of hope, he can hit the enemy in any way to try and take them down. He's going to take that shot. He's going to keep fighting until he can't fight anymore. Unless, of course, he can't actually hit the enemy and he loses his drive, which now isn't the case because Cell is all about brute power. And remember when I said the only thing in this what if changing is the grade 3 speed for Trunks? Well, that means we're also not changing anything else about Cell's buff form. He remains the same, more power, slower speed. He's not the son of the legendary Super Saiyan Broly like Trunks. Just kidding. But if Trunks could hit Cell and Cell loses speed here, this makes for an interesting battle because now Cell would be the one missing Trunks, but Trunks' damage output would start slowly decreasing as he tires because Cell is stronger, he's more durable. Cell still has better battle sense than Trunks, and now he can outlast Trunks despite having less speed. Cell knows he can take it. He's just got to play the waiting game whilst the Ascended form drains Trunks dry. The battle of attrition would eventually go in Cell's favour and Trunks would throw punches until he goes unconscious, to the point if he keeps fighting, Cell may be pushed to actually end the future Saiyan once and for all. Now in this fight, if Vegeta did arrive on the battlefield and sees Trunks on death's door and could prevent it, I believe he would interfere to get Cell away from Trunks. Of course, if that happens, no matter which level Vegeta uses from here, Cell would pulverize Vegeta again. Now the question is, if Vegeta and Trunks are both beaten down to a KO'd state, Cell may end them similar to how he was going to kill Vegeta originally, but if both could still talk in their powered down state, there's a chance Cell could compromise and let them train up for his tournament. Communication is key here. Now there's an interesting scenario where if Vegeta arrived and saw Cell kill Trunks because Trunks wouldn't give up, or Cell just being a ruthless bastard like Frieza, this may trigger Vegeta's power similar to that in the Cell games when he attacked Super Perfect Cell after Trunks died then. Nothing changed between Vegeta and Trunks after the battle with Cell originally because they both trained separate in the time chamber and then met at the Cell games. That's it for their interactions. So that's why I believe Vegeta would still have the same reaction to Trunks dying here, meaning Vegeta is going to get insanely stronger through his rage. And to make it clear, the Vegeta that attacked Super Perfect Cell was stronger than Cell Games Goku because Cell was already stronger than Goku, then powered up against Gohan, and then further powered up again to Super Perfect Cell, and Vegeta made him brace for his life with the impact from that blast. Goku is not doing that to Super Perfect Cell. I don't care what anyone says. So enraged Vegeta here may actually deal some hurting bombs to Perfect Cell without the Super Perfect level, even if he is buffed because Super Perfect was still stronger. And to support this even more, Vegeta's second time chamber training wasn't even that effective compared to his first time. He gained some strength, but it wasn't mind-blowing like the first time. So enraged Vegeta levels because of Trunks dying here versus regular Perfect Cell, that one is super interesting, and I'd want to know just what you guys think of that battle, if Vegeta's power raised because of rage like that against regular Perfect Cell. Leave a comment on that one. So there's many interesting paths Vegeta's character could take here if Cell killed Trunks before the Cell games even started. Maybe Cell would create that tournament regardless, in waiting for Goku to arrive, and in that time, Vegeta's training in the time chamber would be far more intense. He'd have much more drive. Combining that with his enraged state over Trunks, there's a chance he's coming out of that time chamber as a Super Saiyan 2, and I place my bets on that because after Goku died in the original story, we don't know when exactly in the 7 years Vegeta went Super Saiyan 2, as he was initially demotivated with absolutely no enraged mind, whereas now, Trunks' death would drive him to Super Saiyan 2 much faster in training in my opinion, and even if not quite Super Saiyan 2, I believe his strong Super Saiyan 1 form would be enough for regular Perfect Cell because Super Saiyan 2 wasn't a requirement to beat regular Perfect Cell with Gohan. It was an overkill form when Gohan actually got serious and unlocked his own hidden power without Super Saiyan 2. Super Saiyan 2 just amplified what was already there. So in a nutshell, if Trunks could hit Cell, he may actually get killed for it because he's a warrior that would go down fighting to protect the world. Additionally, it may even lead to Vegeta saving the Cell Saga. It's all about timing, when the character shows up, how they interact. Truth be told, I only made this because I love the anime version of Trunks vs Cell and I wanted a little bit more of that. I feel like that scene should get way more credit than what it's got. It was a good fight, one of future Trunks' highlight moments.